about yourself, introduce yourself for our audience today.
So I'm Roulette from the FragDolls, and the FragDolls are a professional gaming team. We're sponsored originally by Ubisoft. We're a little bit like an all-star team, so each of us kind of come from our own individual competitive backgrounds or industry backgrounds and have come together to make the FragDoll team.
Okay, all right. How did FragDolls get started for some of our readers that may not know about you guys?
Originally, it started off as a marketing concept where we had some guys in the Ubisoft office in San Francisco and me, and they were thinking, I came to them with all these stories about how whenever I went online, the first thing I heard was, I can't believe that you're a girl playing video games online. It's so crazy. Because I was playing things like Ghost Recon, and which I just loved and been playing forever. And when I was playing on PC, it was mostly all text chat. But then when I switched over to Xbox, then it was all of a sudden they could tell that I was a girl. And so I went back to Ubisoft and was kind of like laughing about the fact that this was persistent, and I was always having to deal with this. And they were like, wouldn't it be funny if we put together a team of all girls who do the same thing you do? We all laughed, like, haha, yeah, that'd be really funny. And then a couple of them picked up on it. We're like, no, really, let's do it. Let's really do it. And I actually didn't know any other, personally, I didn't know any other competitive girls. I felt very sort of insulated. But we put out a call on Craigslist for... it spread out. I mean, all of the girl gamer communities picked up on it, and we got a bunch of good applicants, and we hired 6 girls and then me to be the original team. So we've had 7 to 9 girls over the past 4.5 years.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that is great. That is very fascinating. I love that story. I see you guys as like a super inspiration to like young girls in general. So so what kind of things do you have on your plate right now? What kind of projects are coming up?
Well, the main thing that we're working on right now is hiring 2 new girls. We want to expand the FragDoll team a little bit more. We had 9 and then 2 retired, and so we're going to hire 2 more to kind of fill their shoes. That will happen around E3. We're going to bring our finalists, probably 4 to 6 girls, to shadow us at E3 to kind of see what's involved in actually demoing and being on the floor and networking and doing press interviews, because it's a lot. We do a lot of stuff at events. They're going to shadow us, and then we're going to kind of see how they fit into that sort of scenario, and then we're going to announce it afterwards. But there's a whole application process before that. They're creating a video introducing themselves, because web content is important for us, and being able to present yourself well on camera and be confident in front of a camera is important. So we're going to see all that stuff, put it on a website so people can vote on who's their favorite and get to know the girls first. So for me, I kind of like it as an opportunity to get to know a bunch of other girl gamers, even though we can only hire 2. There's a whole field. There's a whole field that people will get to know and develop connections to through our website. So it's pretty fun. It's a pretty exciting process.
Have you ever thought about gamers with disabilities, particularly like women gamers with disabilities is my particular interest here?
You know, I haven't in particular thought of women gamers with disabilities. I know that there's some research. I mean, I'm a graduate student studying anthropology, doing my PhD at UC Irvine. And at UC Irvine, we have a couple professors who are working on Second Life. One professor in particular named Tom Belstorff, who has done a lot of gay activism stuff and just kind of studied Second Life from an anthropological, just straight up anthropological, ethnographic sort of sense, but has also been involved in some of the gay activist stuff that's been going on in there. And I've met some other cool Second Life activist groups through that process, one of which is a sort of disabilities, people with disabilities engaging with Second Life. Autism is the one that I know the most about as being a lot of high-functioning autistics really have been able to use Second Life as a good way to express themselves and engage in social sort of interactions that they wouldn't be comfortable with necessarily otherwise. And I know that there's been a lot of cool stuff that's been going on with that. As far as gaming, though, and I wouldn't call Second Life a game. So I have
there are games within Second Life, but yes, it's a virtual world.
Games within Second Life, but it is not a game by itself. But MMOs, of course, share some of the same things that Second Life does. There's text-based chat, there are emotes, it's a virtual world where you're anonymous if you want to be anonymous. And that's a really sort of freeing thing, I think, for lots of people. Everybody loves to have that possibility of being somebody else. And so, you know, I know that at least in the case with autistics, that's been a beneficial thing to be able to explore. So I imagine it would apply in video games to a certain extent also. But aside from that, I haven't really haven't really thought too much about it. I haven't talked to too many gamers, specifically women gamers with disabilities.
Right.
I do know of a couple gamers who are guys, who one with cerebral palsy, who I've seen at various MLG, Major League Gaming events.
Right.
He's not competing in most of the events that actually, you know what, he might, and I've seen to have a mental picture now of seeing him play Halo 3 on a team. But I know that I met him, and he is on the H2O clan, which is associated with the PMS clan, which are really good friends of ours.
Okay.
And I know he plays all the time, and apparently he's really good. I haven't played with him.
Great.
But he holds his own online, which is really good. That's what matters among us hardcore gamers.
Exactly. A lot of our audience at AbleGamers, they play a lot of MMOs, they play a lot of other online games as well. Have you run across anybody online that you know of?
You know, I think that's one of the things about online is that you can't tell. Unless they're going to be telling you specifically, then you're not going to be telling a difference. And I have never had anybody come out and say, by the way, you know, this is my disability, this is what I'm working with.
Right.
But I think that's just my experience, because I do have a lot of friends online, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if over the many years that I've been online that you know that would come up. It just hasn't for me so far.
Right. So you mentioned that you guys are doing a casting call. What would you think? We've got some really elite female gamers on AbleGamers with disabilities. What would you think about you know, encouraging some people to apply?
So there are requirements,
okay.
and the first requirement is that you kick ass at games.
Right, kick ass at games.
That is the first and most important thing. The second thing is that you have to be able to present yourself in a confident way. Like, you have cameras in your face. You have cameras in your face.
Right.
Like, that just happens.
Right.
There are going to be people asking you questions at all times to account for what your gaming habits, and tell us why you like games, and you know, tell us why you think this is important and why you're doing this instead of doing something useful.
Right.
You know?
So obviously, it's an intense life you lead.
Yeah, you're in the spotlight,
right.
And so you have to be able to deal with that and to be able to handle it in a way that's comfortable for you.
Right.
And that's not for everybody.
It's not. No, it's not for everybody.
It's absolutely not for everybody. But I think that if there is somebody who's a kick-ass gamer, you know, a woman who is confident in her being a woman and being a gamer, and can represent that well, then I'm absolutely willing to accept anybody.
Disability or not.
Absolutely.
Right.
Consider them all the same. I mean, those are the requirements.
Right. That is awesome. Cut this part. Exactly. I'm like, hello.
Don't worry, my PC's plenty slow.
Exactly. How do you think your audience, your followers of FragDolls, would react to a female FragDoll with a disability?
So I suppose that is another aspect of being a FragDoll, is that not only are you in front of cameras, but you also are subject to whatever attention you may get from our community and communities outside of us.
I can imagine you get both negative and positive.
Absolutely. We get both negative and positive feedback all over the place. I mean, I've had to really develop a thick skin.
Right.
And it's everything. You know, it completely runs the gamut from people who absolutely adore us to everybody who calls us, you know, ugly marketing whores who actually don't play video games or whatever. You know, like talentless hacks, blah blah blah. Like, we get all of that.
Right.
And we also get feminists who get really pissed off at what we do too. So there are people who we feel like we have something in common with who also hate us. So I don't think that it would necessarily be worse or better, you know, for somebody with a disability. It would just the criticism or the positive feedback would maybe focus more on that than you know, obviously somebody who doesn't have a disability.
Right.
So I feel like it would be a situation where that person would just have to be able to take it, you know, and know going in.
Just know going in.
That's going to be a target.
Right.
I mean, the fact that I have red hair is a target and comes up all the freaking time, because what else are they going to talk about?
Right. There you go.
There's that. There's the fact that I'm a woman. There's the fact that I have really pale skin. You know, like, these things are, if they see something about you, they're going to criticize it. It's subject to kind of public picking apart.
Right.
I think our community in particular is very accepting and awesome. I mean, if you spell badly, there's for some reason really bad about that, or if you repost things that have already been talked about in forums, you know, forum etiquette.
Right.
They're sticklers for forum etiquette.
Okay.
But otherwise, if you're genuine and you're a real gamer, then they're pretty accepting. I mean, I'm really proud of our community for that reason, and that they're really protective of us too. They get to know us, and they're our friends. So I think our community would be really supportive.
Okay, that is exciting to hear. Well, you know, at AbleGamers, you know, we want to, you know, encourage any females out there that want to, you know, apply to the casting call. Where should they go to find out more information?
So all the casting call information is on FragDolls.com.
Okay.
And I actually posted a blog last week that has all of the information.
All of the information.
So it's really easy to find if you just go to FragDolls.com.
That's great. That's great. Well, those are all the questions that I have for you today.
Okay. Awesome.
So, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right. Talk to you soon.
I want to give a big shout out to Steve, Kit, Stephanie, Annette, Tim, Mark, and Michelle for all of the hard work that you guys do for AbleGamers.com.
Thank you.